Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. We'll get going. All right. So taking your comfortable seat, and I really want to emphasize that especially at the beginning of your practice, that can look like sitting on a chair or a bench or stool or whatever you happen to have. It doesn't have to be sitting on the floor, okay? So then as you find that comfortable seat for yourself, take your hands to your upper thighs and just start a little bit of movement here through your torso, through your hips, just shifting a little bit in your seat to start to help yourself feel a little bit more opening and length and a little bit more of that connection. And then coming to some stillness as you let your eyes close, take a moment with your breath to tune into how it's moving right now. And then let yourself start to expand your breath. Let your breath move into more places in your body. Start to let it get longer and slower. And then for another moment in time, tune into whatever is there for body sensation. Maybe notice a specific place in your body that you're experiencing something. It could be a tension, it could be a temperature. And then as you bring your hands to connect at heart center, gently press your palms together and then lift your shoulders up and back, starting to engage through the shoulder blades. On your exhale now, bow toward your heart. Sometimes forehead and fingertips connect here, sometimes they don't. But just bowing in and taking a couple of deep breaths. And now as you softly open your eyes and release your hands down, start to lift up with your gaze, lengthening through the back of the neck. And we'll move through a little bit of neck and shoulders from this sitting position here. So now reach your arms out long to the side, plug in with your shoulder blades, and then wrap one arm over the other. It doesn't matter which one. Walk your fingertips a little bit toward your shoulder blades. Take a big breath into that space between the shoulder blades where your rhomboids are. Inhale, open it up, and exhale, switch the cross. And again, inch your fingertips a little further toward your shoulder blades and take a big breath. Inhale, open it up and switch again. As you walk your fingertips toward your shoulder blades, this time we're going to lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Draw shoulder blades onto your back and think of tops of shoulders getting broad and long. Then exhale, round into the upper back. Chin tucks in. Inhale, lift up, reach your arms. Exhale, switch the arms. Walk your fingertips toward your shoulder blades. And then put your shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, elbows lift to shoulder height. Exhale, round in, cat-like pose in the upper back. Inhale, lift up and open up. This time, let your arms come down. Roll shoulders back. Take ear to shoulder a couple times on each side. And then as you come back into center now, take right ear over to your right shoulder. Left arm comes into gratitude. So your elbow hugs in by your side and you rotate with your arm so your thumb moves toward the wall behind you. And from this place, you can take a hold of the side of your head with your right hand if you would like. You don't have to, okay? That's an option. And then move up and down with your left shoulder blade. And then keep your shoulder blade on your back and tuck your chin down towards your chest with that sideways tilt. Take a full big breath. Then inhale, come back up to center. And exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Gratitude with the right arm. So elbow hugs in, find that rotation. So your thumb is moving toward the wall behind you. And as you keep this sideways tilt of the head, start to move up and down with your shoulder blade on the right side. You can be holding on to the side of your head here if you want. Now keep your shoulder blade on your back and then tuck your chin down with that sideways tilt. Then inhale, come back up to center, release the arms down. Again, roll back with shoulders. Then keep shoulder blades on your back and lift up through your chin, lengthening through the front of your neck. Little shakes of your head no here. And then back into center. Switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. And shift your sitting bones. And then root your hands down into your legs. Press down, lengthen through your sides. And then walk your hands out to your knees. And draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back, coming into a little bit of a spinal twist. Lengthen your sides again, long from hip to armpit. And then exhale your ribs in to help you twist a little bit more. Inhale, come back into center. And exhale, take that twist over to the right side. Inhale long through your sides. Exhale, ribs in to help the twist. Inhale back into center. Hands come behind to clasp, or you can always make fists at your low back. Lift up and open through the shoulders, shoulder blades hug toward each other. Begin to press your palms together, hug your elbows back toward each other. Wrap them back. With that, if you want, you can lift your hands away from your back if your hands are clasped. And even think about resistance here. Pull away with your palms and press together at the same time. And then release your hands. Now take hands in front to clasp. Pull forward with your arms, and one more time in that cat-like pose, drawing your ribs in, rounding into the upper back, your chin tucks in. Take a big breath into that space between the shoulder blades, and you can even add a little bit of side-to-side movement here to get further down into the back body, into the lats, maybe the QLs. Then inhale, sit tall. And now we're shifting forward onto our hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we're setting ourselves up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Pause for just a moment here and root down through palms and fingertips. You're tucking toes under. And then as you engage a little bit with the rib cage, lifting it up into your back body. Also tone your low belly. Now reach back with your right foot, and I'll turn sideways so that you can see. Reach back with your right foot, toes tucked under. Keep a little lift through the ribs, and then reach out with your left fingertips. And from this place, as you reach with toes and fingertips, keep lifting with the ribs, engage with the belly, and then if it's in your practice, you can lift your arm, you can lift your leg, coming into this opposites place. Plug in with your shoulder blade, especially on that left arm. Plug in with your femur bone into your hip socket. Exhale, hands down, knees down. And then inhale, reach back with your left toes tucked under, right fingertips reaching forward. Pause and lift through the ribs. Engage the low belly, and then maybe lift. Take a full big deep breath, and remember you can always set fingertips or toes down, but then plug in with your shoulder blade, plug in with your thigh bone. Exhale, hands down, knees down. Now big toes together, knees wide to settle hips back towards your heels into your child's pose. Then take a few moments to move and shift through your hips. As you move and shift through your hips, maybe even walk your fingertips a little further forward. Settle into this place of child's pose as deeply as your body needs. So that might mean your head comes to rest on a prop. It might mean that your hips stay a little lifted. Full big breath. And now inhaling, rising back up to hands and knees. Set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes tuck under. And then rotate elbow pits forward and push, standing into the upper back. You can stay on hands and knees or lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. As you find that length through your spine, if you're in down dog, then keep rotating through the upper arm bones, elbow pits try to turn forward and push into the hands, lengthening through the spine. And then whether you're on hands and knees or downward facing dog pose, walk your feet forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Feet inner hip bone distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Take an inhale and lengthen part way, long through the spine. Send sitting bones up, extend your heart forward. Exhale and fold over your legs. Inhale, lift up part way again. Your hands are up above your knees. Knees are bent. And with your sitting bones lifting and your heart moving forward, squeeze your glutes and walk your hands up your legs to rise up, coming all the way up to stand. Feet inner hip bone distance apart and parallel. And then reach through your fingertips toward the ground, lift up and open through your shoulders. Close your eyes and take a moment for a full breath. Good, inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, bent knees to fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way, long through the spine. And exhale, fold. And from your fold, if you have a chair or some blocks to put your hands on, lengthen through your heart, moving your heart forward. And then start to pedal out with your legs here. We often do this in downward facing dog pose. But in our half forward fold here, we're bending one knee and then bending the other knee, trying to keep our heels fully planted. As you keep your heels fully planted, it enables the movement to happen more from the pelvis and the low back. And then as you come back into center now, step your right foot back into your lunge. And your right knee can be lifted if it's comfortable, down if it's comfortable, whichever works in your body, and bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Centering with your hips, lift up with your chest. And from this place, we're going to take our eagle arms. So take your arms out to a cactus or a goalpost. And then we're crossing left elbow over the right. You're either going to take a hug or you're going to wrap your forearms around to hold on to palms. Lift your elbows up to shoulder height, wherever that is. And then broaden tops of shoulders. Pull in with your low belly and your ribs. Release your hands, take them down to your props. And then you're working your front leg towards straight. So if you have a chair to use, that might be on the inside of your left leg. If you have two props, then you might have them on either side of your front leg. But that front leg becomes straight as it can be without locking your knee joint. And now big toe mound pushes down. Wrap your left hip back. Bend your right knee and try sending sitting bones up. Full big deep breath. Inhale, bend into your front knee and step forward. Exhale, step back with your left foot into your lunge. Bring your hands up to your hips to rise. And as you rise up, we're centering, drawing right hip back in space, left hip a little forward. Lift your ribs, your chest, and then goalpost arms or cactus. And now, right elbow crosses over the left to either wrap the forearms and take a hold of the palm or reach for shoulders. Lift elbows up to shoulder height. Broaden tops of shoulders. And as you lift with your ribs, start to engage the core. Low belly and ribs draw in. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Find your props and work your front leg towards straight. Right big toe mound is pushing down even as you wrap your right hip back. Little bend to your left knee. Use that bend to help you tilt your sitting bones up, trying to stick your butt in the air. Long through your spine, take a big deep breath. Inhale, bend into your front knee and step all the way back into your downward facing dog pose. Full breath. Hands and knees if it's more comfortable. And now find that rotation of the upper arm bones, turning elbow pits a little forward. And then whether you're on your hands and knees or down dog, lift your right leg to the sky. And as you exhale, you're drawing right knee in toward your nose. Your shoulders can come a little bit forward. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, turn your knee out to the side and start to draw your knee towards your right elbow. Inhale, stretch back. And exhale, cross it through towards your left elbow. Inhale, stretch back. And exhale, foot down to the ground. Remember, you can still do this on your hands and knees, all of this motion. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, knee in toward your nose, shoulders come forward. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, turning your knees out, draw it toward your left elbow. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, knee draws underneath towards your right elbow. Inhale, stretch back. And exhale, foot back down, knees down, hips to heels. Take a child's pose. Turn your palms up and give your wrists a break. As you let your head settle, take a couple moments to move through your hips. Let hips settle as deeply as your body is ready for. Let shoulders settle as deeply as your body is ready for. Take one more big breath. Then inhaling, rising up to your hands and knees. You have your choice. We're going to come back to our forward fold. So you can step forward from your hands and knees, or you can lift up to downward facing dog pose. I always like the option of putting my hands on something here and stepping forward from hands and knees. Inhale, lengthen part way, extend your heart forward. Exhale and fold over your legs. Inhale, hands above your knees again, part way lift. Send your sitting bones up, extend forward with your heart. And then walk your hands up your legs to rise all the way up to stand. And now as you come up to stand, you can find whatever prop you have. And if you want to, you can go to stand in front of a couch or a chair. We're going to use our props as we stretch the outside edge of our legs. So from standing, you're going to step right foot behind the left. So your legs are crossed. You're basically crossed all the way through the legs, but snug the feet up into each other as much as you can. And then you're pushing down with your big toe mounds on both feet. From this place, hands to your upper thighs and give a little push back. Maybe feel a little movement back with sitting bones here. Little bend to your knees and start to hinge at the hips. Hips are back, heart is forward, and fold to take your hands down to whatever you need to use. It can be blocks, it can be a chair, it can be anything that you need. From this place, wherever your fold is, lift sitting bones up and keep a little bend in your knees. Take a full big breath. One more big breath as you push big toes down into the ground and lift sitting bones up. Then bring hands to your hips, push into the floor, squeeze your glutes to rise all the way back up. And now uncross your legs and cross to the other side. So left leg behind the right. You're snugging your feet up toward each other. Legs are hugging in. Hands come to your thighs and push big toe mounds down. Push your thigh bones back so you're creating a little hip crease. Your sitting bones are starting to move back. Then begin to hinge. Heart forward, sitting bones back. And then bring your hands down to whatever you need. Props are something that I absolutely love in my yoga practice. So you can check it out if you feel like you have more space to bring your hands down. Feel free, but notice what's happening up at the low back. Trying to send sitting bones up here. So it might mean bringing the hands up a little higher to find that. Sitting bones lift. Knees stay a little bit bent. Big toe mounds push down. Full big deep breath. And then bring hands to your hips. Again, push into the floor with your feet. Squeeze your glutes. Lift the chest and rise. Good. And then uncross the legs. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Inhale, reach arms wide and up. Exhale, soft through the knees, bend them, hinge at the hips and fold. Hands can always be on a prop, or they can be on the floor or your shins. Inhale, lengthen part way, long spine. Again, sitting bones lift. Exhale and fold. From your folded place, keep your knees considerably bent so your belly can rest against your legs. And from there, you might hold on to opposite elbows. You might clasp your hands behind the back side of your neck, or just let your arms hang. Maybe you bring your elbows up to your thighs if that feels better on your back body today. Take another full big deep breath. And then planting hands, and you can always use blocks or a prop to help you. Step back into your hands and knees or your downward facing dog pose. Find the place that fits for your body today. And then lower knees down, bring hips back to heels, take a child's pose. And now gently pressing yourself back upright to your seat. Come down onto your sitting bones, and we're gonna make our way down onto our back and do a few things from the floor. So from the floor, make sure all of your props are handy. And then draw knees up as close to your chest as is comfortable. And they might be wide, they might be narrow, but take a couple big breaths and rock. Allowing for that little bit of massage through the low back, the glutes, maybe into more of the mid back. And now set your left foot on the ground and draw your right ankle to cross over your left leg. So we have our figure four pose here. And as you flex through the right foot, you're going to start to draw your legs up in toward your chest as close as is comfortable. Giving a little bit more stretch through the glutes, maybe through some of the connections for hamstrings, whatever happens to show up for you. But then rock a couple times side to side with the intention of lengthening the low back. And then try setting the sitting bones down so that your low back feels like it's going to lift a little bit. From there, take a little rock over to the left side. You might have your left hand against your left foot and elbow on the ground for a little prop. Your right hip is a little lifted. Now reach your right sitting bone out to the right side and forward toward the front corner of your mat or the right front corner of your room. A little stretch through that hip flexing muscle underneath all of the glutes called the piriformis, sometimes is the culprit for squeezing into nerves like the sciatic nerve. And then inhale back up to center and set your right foot down and switch legs, crossing left ankle over the right knee. Flex your foot And start to lift your legs in as close to your body as is comfortable. Again, just letting yourself feel that stretch through the glutes and whatever else happens to be there for you. Couple rocks side to side, sometimes helps to lengthen the low back, and then tilt the sitting bones down. From that place, you're taking a little rock over to the left or to the right side with your legs. So maybe your right elbow becomes your bumper, your support. Left hip is a little lifted. And now you're trying to reach your left hip broad to the left and forward toward the foot of your mat. Take a big deep breath. Notice whatever sensations are there. And even maybe notice if this side feels a little tighter than the other side or vice versa. And now back into center and set both feet on the ground, and we're walking feet out wide and then taking that movement with our legs that many of us know and love now called windshield wipers. Both knees drop to one side, both knees drop to the other side. And as you do so, take it slow enough so that you can sense whatever is there, maybe through the hip or the thigh or the hamstrings, whatever it happens to be for you. And now one more stretch here with your left foot planted. Extend your right leg up long and straight as much as is good for your body today, making sure to keep at least a little micro bend in that right leg. From here, you can clasp behind the back side of your leg and give a press of hamstrings into your hands. And that can still even look like a considerably bent knee. Reach through your heel and down through your hip, and then take your leg just slightly across your body toward the left side. So you're getting back into the outside edge of your leg. Making sure that the hip stays planted the whole time. Take another full big breath. And then come back into center and bend your knee, set your foot on the ground, and lift your right leg up. And again, clasp behind the back side of your leg if that's comfortable. Reaching through your heel, micro bend if you're a hyperextender, or considerable bend if you're just really tight. Push hamstrings into your hands, and then slightly take your leg across the body. Your hip is still planted, and you're reaching through your heel and down through your hip. A little more stretch through that IT band area. And then back into center, bend your knee, set both feet on the ground, and then start to set yourself up into a really comfortable rest. That might mean setting a prop underneath your legs, maybe a blanket underneath your neck or head, or over the top of you. But take the time to find your Shavasana, your final resting pose that helps you to digest all the work that you've done. And begin to take a deeper breath. And add little gentle movements back into your fingers and into your toes. And then as you're ready to, you're bending your knees and rolling to your side. Keeping your hips heavy. Use your hands to support you to bring your torso back upright to your seat. And then bring hands to connected heart center. And with your eyes closed, take another moment for a full deep breath. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.